Okay, so now that we have the basics implemented, let's go ahead and just work through the menu one item at a time. So here's all the functionality we need to add. So we already have code to show a list of all the categories, our playlists, and we have code to create, actually we don't have code to create a new category, so that's going to be the first thing we're going to do. So one change I want to make to what I have here is I'm just using single letters for these menu options. And I've just found that there are enough different menu options and they're similar enough that it's really hard to keep track of the letters. And so I'm going to try using 2-character menu choices this time around. So I'm going to go to the console. And right now I have list all videos. Let's do print instead. So that's going to be print videos. And then we'll do print playlists. And then this one's going to be PV. And this one's going to be PP. And then X is fine for exit. So instead of L, we're going to have PV, and instead of P, we're going to have PP. And that should make things a little easier to remember. So X is X, L is PV, and P is PP. All right, let me just go ahead and run it really quickly, make sure it still works. So I'm going to print videos, and I'm going to print playlists, and everything looks good, so I'm going to exit. All right, so next thing is creating a new category and adding it to the list of all categories. So in order to create a playlist, we need to be able to supply the name, list of videos, which is initially just going to be an empty list, a URL for the thumbnail, and a piece of text for the description. So we need to get those 4 things. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy this list over to console. And so this choice is going to be create playlist. And as with the other methods, this is going to be a class method because it's going to access the list of playlists and also the all videos playlist. So class method, call that create playlist, and I have a CLS, the class, and then I'm just going to paste this in. All right, so the first thing we want to do is get the name because we're going to use the name as the key value. So when we do get key, it's the name in lowercase. And before we create the playlist, we're going to want to see whether it exists already. And so we're going to call this lookup method. We're going to pass in whatever the user typed. And then we actually want to use the key in lowercase for this lookup method because get key is returning lowercase. So just in case they don't pass in a lowercase key, let's go ahead and convert it to lower here. And then if lookup returns none, that means the playlist doesn't exist already, and so we can go ahead and create it. But if it returns something that isn't none, that means that we're trying to create a playlist that already exists. And so instead of doing that, we just want to print an error message and skip out. So first thing we want to do is get the name. So that's going to be name equals, and then I have a input string method in my input validation library. So let's make sure that that's available. So I'm going to import select item and also input string. And then that takes a prompt, an error message, and a validation function. And the default validation function is it accepts any non-empty piece of text, which is fine for the name of the playlist. So I'm going to do input string, please enter the name of the playlist. And then the error message is name must be non-empty. And that's fine. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the lookup. So we're say playlist equals playlist dot lookup name. And then if playlist is not none, that means it exists already. So we're going to print error, playlist already exists. And then we're going to return. So if we get here, the playlist doesn't exist, so we can go ahead and we don't need to ask for videos. That's going to be empty. For thumbnail, let's do thumbnail equals input string. Please enter the URL for the thumbnail image. And then I'll use the same error message here. Now I could actually check to make sure it looks like a URL, but I'm just gonna keep it simple for now. And then for description, please enter a description for the playlist. And then this one, I actually do want to let them enter something that's empty. So I'm going to use a custom valid functions. So it's going to be valid equals lambda sub x true. So this is basically an anonymous function that always returns true no matter what the input is. So we'll go ahead and we'll try that out. And then when I get here, I have everything I need. Yeah, so I have everything I need. So I'm going to go ahead and say playlist is equal to playlist. And then I'm going to pass in name, empty for the list of videos, thumbnail, and description. And then now that I have the playlist, I'm going to add it to my list of playlists, which is cls.allplaylists.append playlist. And that should be it for this one. So let's go ahead and see how it works. So fix a typo there. All right. Oh, and I need to add my menu choice. So this is going to be CP for create playlist. Or maybe NP for new playlist. New, it doesn't matter. Create playlist. And then we'll add the option CP create playlist. And then add the menu option here. CP CLS, oops, create playlist. Okay, so let's go ahead and try it now. So I'm going to create a playlist. And then it's not going to remember anything I type because I don't have a database backend. So I don't have to worry about doing the right thing. So we're just going to do, let's start with one I already have. Actually, I thought I had a Bruce Springsteen playlist, but I guess I don't. I should have listed the playlists first. So URL for the thumbnail. And then description, I'll just use empty there. Now let me print my playlists. So I did have a Bruce Springsteen, so my lookup wasn't doing the right thing. So let's figure out what's going on there. But it did add it to the list. So So I'm going to exit, and I'm going to put a breakpoint on this call right here, and we're going to run it under the debugger, and get rid of that old breakpoint and resume. CP to create a new playlist, and then Bruce Springsteen. Okay, so I'm on my breakpoint. My name is Bruce Springsteen, which is correct. I'm going to step in to lookup. And then let's take a look at map. So special variables, CLS, protected attributes. Here's my map. And I do have Bruce Springsteen in all lowercase. Oh, this is not being converted to lower here. So I'm doing it over here, but I'm not doing it over there. So this test fails. So what I want to do is, let's do lower key is key dot lower. So I only do that once. And then here I'm going to use lower key. And here I'm going to use lower key. Okay, let me try it now. So we're going to create a new playlist. Bruce. Actually, I'll do Bruce Springsteen. Playlist already exists. So let's try creating another playlist again. And let's do Manfred Mann. And then something. And then okay, and then we're going to print the list of playlists, and it shows up, and then we're going to exit. Actually, let me try one more test. So I'm going to go ahead and do create playlist, X for the name, X for the URL, X for the description, and then print playlists. And then I'm going to do create playlist, X, and it's rejected because it already exists. So that looks good.